The fishing news is brought to you by Shoreline Insurance Agency, Interlux Marine Paint, Maxima Fishing Line, and Okuma.
Hard to believe Labor Day weekend's here already. Honestly, I couldn't be happier. The passage of Labor Day to me means crowds are gone from the beaches, launch ramps are a lot less crowded, and there's a big change in the fishing landscape around the island too, not just around the island, but up and down this part of the coast. Water temps begin cooling down. A lot of our most popular game fish go on the feed as water temperatures drop. And there's other species coming into town too. False albacore, Albies, bonito. They'll be mixing in now on the inshore scene. And it's prime time too to target a big fluke, especially if you're fishing live baits like snappers. You have a really good shot at catching that one last doormat before the season ends. And while we will be losing fluke, last day of the season is September 21st. You can fish up through the 21st. Blackfish isn't far off. Another 2 weeks after fluke season closes, and we'll be able to target blackfish again. And I know a lot of folks are really looking forward to blackfish season, especially since now it's condensed into such a short period. So a lot of people will turn to blackfish once we get into October. That season opens on October 3rd, by the way. And while we are talking about what's ahead of us this fall, how about some of the unusual catches being made this summer? A lot of it can be attributed to, I'm sure, to water temperatures that in the ocean got up to 80, even 82 degrees inshore. Long Island Sound also was up in the 80s this summer. Just to mention a few, there was that Cubera snapper caught in the Breezy Point surf on a clam bait. A pair of good-sized cuda, one in Fire Island Inlet, 15 pounds, and then the latest back west just this past weekend, a small mahi caught off a West End jetty. It was only like 4 pounds, but how about this one just caught a day or two ago, 25-pounder in Fire Island Inlet, on the back off the backside of Demo. It was in a boat. And we had that run of zero mackerel inside Fire Island Inlet. They were around for like 2 days. There were quite a few of them caught. And a buddy of mine spoke to a trap fisherman out on the East End on the weekend, and he told him he's had 9 or 10 tarpon up to 7 feet long in his traps this year. Every year there's a couple of tarpon caught. One year we even had a showing of tarpon where a couple of guys actually targeted them for a couple of days out in the East End bays. But all in all, just a real crazy summer. As far as fishing this weekend, tropical storms and at least one hurricane are lined up to ensure that a lot of folks are going to be fishing inshore this weekend. It is a long holiday weekend, and I think you are going to be a little bit restricted if the weather forecasts hold true. If you are planning on running outside any of the South Shore inlets, please be careful. Use some common sense. Whenever you have a good groundswell running from these offshore storms, even they could be passing 100 miles offshore, 150 miles offshore, you get a strong outgoing current in any of our inlets opposed to these incoming swells, and it can get real nasty and real dangerous in a hurry. So if you are going outside, it could look very calm other than the swells when you go out. Plan your trip so that you're leaving the inlet and returning through the inlet, either at slack water or on incoming water when the water flow is moving with those swells. World of difference, because once they turn white and start breaking, it can become very dangerous. And depending on the size of your boat, you probably shouldn't be going through those inlets at all. So again, use some common sense. It might be a great time to get in some late inning fluke fishing or tracking down some of the weak fish that are roaming around Great South Bay and Peconic Bay. Any kind of fishing up in Long Island Sound is a good bet since you'll be unaffected by these passing storms. You don't have to worry about sea conditions up there. The snapper's a good size now, and on Sunday, Molnar's Landing in Hampton Bays is hosting their annual Labor Day Snapper Derby for kids 4 to 12 years old. Something else you might want to take in. Anyway, until next week, Enjoy the holiday weekend, be safe, and try to get in some fishing time. Take care. I'm Fred Golofaro for thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is brought to you by Shoreline Insurance Agency, Interlux Marine Paint, Maxima Fishing Line, and Okuma.